A brand new contender that people are calling the next big threat to XRP has officially launched. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what this network actually is and who it's really built to compete against. Stick with me for the whole video because there's a ton of confusion floating around right now. This is genuinely exciting stuff, but if you don't grasp how all the pieces connect, you could easily get caught off guard. We'll cover that. Plus some other big news, so don't click away before the end. Hey guys, welcome back to Whiteboard Crypto Update. In today's video, we will talk about XRP. So be sure to stay focused, as you surely don't want to miss out on this. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications by hitting the bell so you never miss any of our uploads. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Before we get into the main topic, I want to touch on something lighter and honestly pretty fun. It looks like XRP has officially become tied to the Kansas Jayhawks. I know this is stirring up a lot of backlash online, but here's the thing. Brad Garlinhouse actually attended that university. So really, this feels less like a corporate marketing stunt and more like Brad giving back to his alma mater. XRP branding is going to appear across Jayhawks athletic uniforms, and Ripple will be funding blockchain-related coursework and educational programs built around the XRP ledger at the school. Personally, I think this is fantastic. The more XRP gets woven into everyday culture, the more it reaches younger generations and sharp, capable minds who might eventually build on it. My honest take is that Brad was probably already contributing to the school in some capacity, and this is just a natural extension of that relationship, a way to align his interests with the brand while getting XRP more visibility. I actually think it's pretty cool, and I'll admit, I wouldn't mind owning one of those jerseys with the XRP logo stitched on. A basketball jersey with that branding would honestly look sharp. It's a fun little story that broke today, and there's already noise from people claiming this proves XRP lacks real adoption, so Ripple supposedly has to pay universities for exposure. I think that narrative is completely off base. Brad has ties to that school, he's a genuine supporter of the program, and when you spend enough time and money supporting an institution, side projects like this naturally emerge. I'm not blowing this up into something enormous, but for anyone criticizing it, I'd argue it's a net positive. I'm always in favor of getting blockchain education in front of college students because those are exactly the people we want eventually building on the XRP ledger. Now let's get into the real headline of the day, the emergence of what many are calling a potential XRP killer, the Robinhood blockchain. It launched earlier today, and plenty of voices online are framing it as a direct threat to XRP. I completely disagree with that framing. In my view, this is a far bigger problem for Solana than it is for XRP. Think about who actually uses Robinhood. It's largely retail traders, and that overlaps heavily with the Solana user base. One of my long-standing critiques of Solana has been that its liquidity isn't loyal. It's opportunistic. Users flock there chasing quick flips, the next meme coin, or the next NFT drop, and they want the easiest, fastest path to do it. Actually, using Solana requires setting up a wallet, which adds friction. Robinhood removes that friction entirely, letting people trade meme coins and NFTs directly through an app where their money already sits. That's a much more direct challenge to Solana's user base than anything aimed at XRP. As for the XRP ledger, it's simply built for a different purpose and a different market. Look at where the ledger already dominates. Real-world asset tokenization, sitting around $4.4 billion and closing in on Ethereum's numbers. The entire design philosophy of the XRP ledger is almost the opposite of what a Robinhood-style chain is going for. Sure, there will always be retail-focused speculative platforms and gambling-adjacent chains, but the ledger was never meant to be one of them. Going back to David Schwartz's founding vision, the XRP ledger was designed as an open public system where anyone could supply or access liquidity. That's a completely different mission than what Robinhood's chain is offering. XRP's real traction is happening inside major financial institutions, functioning as an upgraded settlement and value transfer network. Robinhood, on the other hand, is building a retail-facing consumer app replicating behavior that already exists on chains like Solana. Different philosophy, different audience entirely, and again, that puts Solana in the crosshairs far more than XRP. Over my years following the XRP community, I've watched countless projects get hyped as the XRP killer. Canton, JP Morgan's blockchain, R3, the list goes on. And people consistently overlook one key detail. Ripple's private market valuation is estimated somewhere between $60 and $100 billion, roughly on par with Robinhood's current size, especially after Robinhood's recent stock surge. The difference is that Robinhood trades publicly while Ripple remains locked in private markets. But that distinction aside, Robinhood is entering a completely different arena than Ripple operates in. All of Robinhood's strength lies in consumer-facing retail experience. It has no path to competing with Ripple at the central bank or institutional banking level. They're chasing entirely different customers, and each company is pouring its resources into its own lane. Robinhood into retail, Ripple into institutions. Every so-called XRP killer shares the same fundamental weakness. They're roughly a decade behind what Ripple and XRP have already built. When institutions enter this space, trust and track record will matter enormously, and nobody is going to hand their confidence to a brand new Robinhood chain over a ledger with 12 years of proven uptime. On top of that, Robinhood is explicitly positioned as a retail product, while Ripple is built around institutional infrastructure. They're simply different companies serving different purposes. I actually see Robinhood's move into this space as strong validation for the broader direction crypto is heading. Proof that public liquidity networks and blockchain rails are becoming the expected future of finance, and that everyday users are increasingly demanding instant settlement, low-cost transactions, and round-the-clock liquidity. Is it bad that Robinhood is jumping in? Not at all. I'd call it deeply bullish. The more people who buy into instant settlement, cheap transaction fees, and always-on liquidity as the standard, the more pressure builds on traditional institutions to adapt. And here's the key point. Most financial institutions won't build this technology themselves. They'll outsource it. That's exactly the lane Ripple occupies. No other blockchain company in this space has anywhere near the regulatory licensing Ripple has secured across the globe. So ask yourself, who would an institution rather partner with? A brand new blockchain with zero regulatory approvals and an unproven track record? Or Ripple, which holds an extensive portfolio of financial licenses, offers a lightning-fast and liquid settlement network, and has over 12 years of operational history? It's barely even a close call. Sure, if you're launching a meme coin, you now have another venue besides Solana, Robinhood's chain. But that's an entirely different use case. If you're a bank looking to modernize your settlement infrastructure or issue tokenized securities, Robinhood's chain probably isn't even on your shortlist. I believe the XRP Ledger's institutional toolkit, spanning custody, payments, and tokenized treasury solutions, is a far more complete and compelling offer. These two projects are simply playing in entirely different sandboxes. As I see it right now, Robinhood's chain is likely arriving near the tail end of the retail speculation wave, and honestly, that tracks. It feels like a bit of a late entry. Time will tell how it plays out, but I suspect most of the activity on Robinhood's chain won't meaningfully benefit the broader crypto ecosystem. As David Schwartz has often pointed out, the overwhelming majority of assets sitting in the traditional financial system still need to migrate onto decentralized infrastructure, and most of those assets are institutionally held, not owned by retail traders. While Ripple is actively partnering with close to 30 central banks worldwide, Robinhood is capturing the retail crowd. That might look flashy in the short term, but over the long haul, I still believe the XRP Ledger comes out ahead, especially compared to these retail-focused platforms. So, is this really another XRP killer? I've seen this movie before, and these projects rarely have staying power. They almost always end up targeting a different market segment entirely, and historically, most so-called XRP killers were private, permission chains that ultimately fizzled out. My take is that this Robinhood chain is shaping up to be more of a Solana rival than an XRP one. Once again, We'll likely see speculative money chase this new shiny object until the next trendy chain comes along. Essentially, the same pool of traders bouncing between platforms, extracting liquidity in slightly different forms each time. Meanwhile, Ripple's strategy is fundamentally different. Rather than chasing that migratory crowd hopping to whatever's newest, they're focused on bringing legacy financial institutions on board. A customer base that's far stickier and more permanent. That institutional focus is what I find most compelling for the long-term future of finance. And I believe that if anyone comes out on top at that level, Ripple has roughly a 10-year head start on the competition. Well, guys, that's all we have for you today. What are your thoughts on XRP? Get involved and let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.